I'm off to deliver the little Jazz to the customers in Barnsley. I've selected to deliver it to them because I've got to go and pick up a car. I am picking up a 2015 Discovery Sport. Now everybody's going to go, whoa, Land Rover, run away, run away. Lucky this is the 2.2 diesel, same as my Freelander over there, which is the right engine to have. And it's only done, I think it is 30,000 miles, mega low miles. But I have hit them quite hard based on sort of the market for Land Rover at the moment. I've hit them quite hard. It's not really affecting us up here in Devon because it's the people in London trouble suffering with the insurance, I think. And I say with the 2.2 in it rather than a 2-litre Ignum engine. Is it Ignum? That's the engine to avoid. The 2.2 is the one to have. So we're going to drop this off and then short walk up the road and pick up the Land Rover, and we'll see how we get on with that. I'll give you a little bit of camera work on that when it gets here. So here is my Discovery Sport. I've just driven it back. It's only got 25,000 miles on it. Isn't that mental? And it is the 2.2 like the Freelander here, not the 2-litre as I said. So it's not the risky 2-litre Ingenium engine. If you remember, I got one of these that had a replacement engine in it, but it was the 2-litre Ingenium engine, and I still traded it out even though it had a replacement engine in it, which probably was a bit daft to be honest. But this one's got the 2.2 in it, which even the mechanics, when I was down at the Land Rover place picking it up, the mechanics were going, yep, that's the okay engine, that's the good engine. It's more vocal than the 2-litre because it's like an old school diesel. It's a little bit noisier, but it's the one that's going to last. And with 25,000 miles on it, we see these do a couple 100,000 miles. So with 25,000 miles on it, as a retail car, the risk seems very low. It's going to come down to electronics on this rather than the engine, I would expect, unless it's all coked up, obviously. Probably wants to do a nice hot run. There is some bodywork to do on it. There's scuff on the corner of the bumper down here that runs along there. A lot of that will polish out, I think, but that'll definitely need to be done. More seriously, there's a ding in the boot. There's some light scratches here which will buff out, but there is more seriously, there's a ding in the boot just there, quite a bad one. The light reflecting off it makes it look even worse again. So that'll need our mate Mount to grind the paint off, put the stud pullers on, pull it back out again, then do it and paint it. And inside is grubby. It's where's my keys? Have I got keyless on this? Can't remember. Don't think so. Where's the keys there? Yeah, it's grubby inside, needs a really good clean. Automatic, which obviously, I don't know, do they do these in manual? I haven't had enough to know, but I've only ever had automatics. Got cruise control, Bluetooth, touchscreen, parking sensors, all the good stuff. Electronic handbrake. It's got the half leather trim. I mean, the trim's all in good condition. It just is dirty. Needs a good clean. So, I say, yeah, 25,008 and 9 miles. I think I just did those 9 miles on it. Drives absolutely perfectly as you'd expect. Suspension's all good. We've got some decent rubber on it. Yeah, got some Pirelli Scorpion 4x4 tyres all the way around, so that's a good sign. It's got a full history. Nice news on this one. They even did the cam belt on it in 2022. So even though it's only got that mileage on it, the owners still had the cam belt done, because obviously we know rubber can degrade with age. But yet, it shows that they weren't skimping. They've put decent tyres on all the way around. It's got a full service history, and they've had the cam belt done. So it just needs that little bit of bodywork doing. Value wise on this, Auto Trader says 17,000 because of the 25,000 miles. So 16,995. What do we reckon? I was a bit cautious with it because I just, you know, again, mega low mileage. The computers can throw out whatever number they like. Will someone really come along and pay that for it? My intention was to be at least £1,000 cheaper than that and see how I get on. So something like 15,995 probably, once the bodywork's done on it. But if someone's looking for a Discovery Sport with the right engine, the 2.2, one with 25,000 miles on it, is going to be mega attractive, I would have thought. It's just paint that's going to delay it. Paint is really, because things are getting painted that weren't getting painted before because of the value of cars, it's really slow getting the painting done. As regards the Freelander, that's all done with its new MOT and over £1,000 worth of work on it. So it was all new discs and pads all the way around, wasn't it? New tyres all the way around. and the advisory free MOT. I just need to get that cleaned up now. It's had a basic clean. I'll take some exterior photographs, but I need to wet clean the interior and get some pictures. The stock's building up again, so I need to really start rattling through it. I say it every time, don't I? The little Panda is already sold. Some neighbours of mine have a Mini, and guess what the Mini did? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds now to write in the comments down below what their Mini Cooper did. Go on, if you watch the channel at all, you must know what's happened. Right, you've had your chance. The timing chain went on it. I love that I put a TikTok out and people in the comments calling me an idiot, and I didn't know anything about minis, saying the timing chains go all the time, despite the fact in the very same video the comments were just listed with people who had the same thing. So the timing chain went. They said, we want a cheap little run around that'll deal with the lanes, it'll give good fuel economy, it's going to be reliable, cheap to run, that kind of thing. And I said, boh, Panda, have a go in the Panda. So they took the Panda for a little spin. They went away to think about it. They just rang me this morning and say, yeah, we'll have that. So this again needs to go down for an MOT. Needs a wet clean of the seats. I need to check if the cam belt has been done. The sticker is missing from the engine bay. So any of you know about my Fiat 500 past and my Panda past, there is a sticker that covers the bolt holes that allow you to get cam belt off. The sticker's normally in place if it's not been done, and it's been removed if it has been done. But I will be able to, I take the 10mm bolts on the top, look at the belt, rotate it a little bit, and see if the writing's, you know, new on it or totally worn out. So, because otherwise, you know, you don't want to be replacing a belt if you don't need to, do you? But we'll get a full advisory free MOT done. It. We'll give it a polish up. I pointed out to them the little ding this little Panda's got here on the wing. Actually, in the light, it's not so obvious. Actually, I'm probably going to struggle to catch it on camera. Just there, I think a PDR guy could get it out. But I've just pointed it out, and I didn't say I was going to do that because I don't think it's worth the extra money. I said to him basically, well, depending on how the MOT goes, I'll be able to do him a keener price or not. So yeah, good clean. We'll do oil and filters anyway. I quite like the colour. People have seen it quite like the colour. I think Panda's a really good value for money. Really good value for money. If this was a Fiat 500, it'd be £1,000 or more for the same car. I like the fact they've got a little bit more ground clearance, just a touch more ground clearance. I like the fact they've got the fat tyres because it deals with the potholes. And people that have Pandas absolutely love them. They're great to fling about. They're a bit easier to get in and out of than the other stuff. Slightly higher seat level to get in and out of the car. And obviously you can get a couple more people in them as well if you want to take a few about, or drop the rear seats and have it like a little van. So again, massive thanks to our subscriber who sold me that. Much appreciated. And it's already gone. That's why it's good to have a little stockpile, isn't it? You can have people wander through it even if it's not ready yet. Now, I actually could have sold even more cars as well, because unfortunately we've had 2 write-offs this week. So if you remember, I sold a silver Fiesta to a young lad. He part exchanged a little cheap Fiesta that I was bombing around in, wasn't I? And then I traded that out to Davey, the painter. A week later, wrote the car off. We had really heavy storm here. It landed and settled and got about that thick. And unfortunately, him and some other cars slid and hit each other, and that's written his car off. So they rang up saying, have I got another Fiesta style car? Afraid I haven't got the right kind of side. I did suggest a Rio, but they went up for that. And then our customers that had a Ford Focus off us a little while ago had their car written off. They came back looking for a Ford Focus size car, which I haven't got at the moment, for them to well, again, I did suggest perhaps a Rio. On that one, the insurance company were trying to pay them £4,000 for a car they paid me £5,500 for. I went on to Auto Trader and showed them they could not get the same car even privately for £5,000. So I said, go back to your insurance company and kick off at them. And they weren't too confident about it. I said, look, here it is, print it out. You cannot get the same car with the same mileage for even £5,000 from a private seller, so I would not take less than that. So they went back, they messaged me and said, thanks James, they've upped it to £5,000 for us. So there's another grand that they said on top they can now afford to spend on a car. You've got to do that with your insurance company. Don't take their first offers. Do not take their first offers. Threaten them with the insurance ombudsman. Be fair, but don't take the first offer. You just pull up your car with your mileage, your spec, and show them, you know, where am I supposed to get a car for the money you're offering me? They will try and base it on private prices, which I think is cheeky, because if you got the car from a dealer, you got some kind of comeback. If you buy it private, you haven't. So to ask people to take their insurance money and go and roll the dice of buying private, I think is a little bit unfair. But anyway, they're up on the cash. Unfortunately, I haven't got anything of the right size for them at the moment, but they are willing within reason to hang on. But we've only got like a week before they really badly need a car. So hopefully I get offered something in the meantime. If any of you got a good Ford Focus you're looking to sell, then perhaps get onto the website and fill in the form on the website. If you remember, I've got that form on my website now, on the CG Car Sales website, where you can fill in and I can give you a price on your vehicle. Right, now I promised Sammy faithfully that I would do a video on the Fiat 500 problem I was having, so hopefully he's watching this video. I didn't work out quite the way I planned. I planned to talk through what the problem was and then see if we could diagnose it, but I got too busy and ended up doing what I always do, which is just throw it at the Moors boys and say get on with it. So what happened was, we've got this Fiat 500 now. If you remember, we sold this Fiat 500, is it 2 years ago we sold this Fiat 500, or is it a year ago? No, it must be 2 years ago, I think. I can't remember. It was the little 64 plate. It was sold to my mate Gas Guy, was to his daughter, and we got it in as a category S. And if you remember, we took the whole front end of the car off and had a look to see if we could find out what the damage was, because we couldn't see anything that was category S. Had a look at the chassis legs. They were straight as a die, still in original factory paint. The rad pat was original, all that kind of stuff. So all we could assume was the reason it was category S was because of these two dents in the A pillars here. And we think what happened was, it had a front end and probably had the bonnet and the bumper replaced, but when it had that front end, it pushed the bonnet into the pillars and damaged them, which I have seen before. And because these are obviously, they're not a removable panel, I think they are classed as S, as a structural part of the car, although I do know that there is a second skin underneath these on the Fiat 500. But obviously an insurance company would have to presumably find the spot welds here, spot welds in the door jamb right the way to the back there, and weld a whole new panel in here. So I would imagine that would be enough to write it off. They wouldn't want to do that. Because I say, this is all assumption, because like I say, but if you go back to the original video, we did strip the whole front end of the car off. And those who followed the channel for a long time, to Alpha Ragazzi days, will know I know these things inside out. I've done a lot of crash repairable ones on these. I've taken them apart hundreds of times and know what to look out for. So anyway, what happened was, Martine decided she needed a bigger vehicle, and she bought the blue Kia Sportage off me. Now, the very day that she bought the Kia Sportage off me, this car has run perfectly the entire time. But the very day she saw the picture of the Sportage and said, I want it, the 500 decided, I'm not having any of that. I'm going to shut myself off and I'm not going to work properly. And it started really erratically idling. So they took it into the garage to get MOT, to a different garage, the one I use. And it wouldn't go through the MOT because of emissions, and it was idling badly. So the guy sent off the ECU, which, to be fair, is a normal thing to do on these, because the ECUs can fail quite a lot on these. Although it normally comes up as a misfire code, and the code that was coming up in this was for timing. So then they assumed it was the crank sensor. No, actually, sorry, I think they assumed it was the crank sensor first. Did the crank sensor, didn't solve it, still running badly. So then they did the ECU, sent the ECU off. ECU came back as okay. Put that on the car, that was all okay. They were still having problems. I said, did you do the phonic relearn, which they hadn't heard of before? So we got the phonic relearn done. I did talk them through it over the phone. That didn't solve it. So then I said, well, if you've done the obvious spark plugs and leads, because they do love fresh spark plugs, the Fiat 500 1.2. I said, have you done fresh spark plugs and leads? And they said, no. I said, well, it might be worth throwing those at it, because like I say, they do like fresh ones on these. Their diagnosis was that the engine was then bad and it needed a new engine. I said to my mate Gas Guy, I said, look, Ian, I've never known a 1.2 launch itself ever. They are pretty bulletproof. I've sold them with 180,000 miles on. I very much doubt it's the engine. Should we get the Moors boys to have a look at it? So we got it down to the Moors guys. They had a look over it and they said, yeah, your timing's out on it. So what they've done is they have done a whole new cam belt and water pump change on it. They said it was only slightly out. It was enough to give it a bad idle. They think it was the tensioner that started to fail on it for the cam belt. So they put a new cam belt tensioner on it, new belt on it. I think they did an oil and filter service on it as well. The frustrating thing for Martine is what they charged for doing that and doing a fresh MOT on it was less than they were charged by the other place for the ECU testing, the sensor and everything else. But sometimes it's just the way it is with cars. You have to work your way through a list of things to find out exactly what the problem with it is. But it now runs sweet as a nut. And Martine has asked if I can sell it for her. Well, to be honest, I offered to sell it for her. I don't normally do that, but she's had a bit of a headache. And at the end of the day, I think I can probably sell it for her easier than she can sell it for herself. Well, the range is all fueled up and warming up. We're off to meet the guys from Shifting Metal again. Off to another auction with them. We're setting ourselves another challenge. I think he wants to do a sub 10 grand challenge this time, so top end of my market. So I'm loaded up with a couple of nice pasties for him. I'm about to meet him at his farm, so I'll catch up when I get there and we'll hit the auctions to see what's what.